What is the place of an artist in the 21st century? What is his or her role in the world, in both a local and a universal context? In whatever part of the world we might find ourselves in 2011, it would be a luxury for the artist to remain secluded in an ivory tower. We've heard for some time about interdisciplinary projects and interactive artworks, but how often do they really achieve such a lofty aim? What do such concepts mean for the artist, for the public, and for the actual state of art? The role of the artist has gone far beyond painting an aesthetically beautiful picture in a studio that will eventually be hung on a wall, whether in a museum or in a collector's home. By now, a work of art needs to do much more than that to truly address the public, whoever that public may be. The artist is not a separate entity from the world they live in. They must engage with that world on some level to render the work they do relevant. The notion of making an interactive work flows in at least two directions, in any number of directions, but more than one. The process of the work is at least as important as the final result, if there is a final result. The current exhibition is an attempt at just such a group of interdisciplinary projects that address the world we're living in today, in Hungary or wherever we may live our lives. Projects that use that world around them as the raw material for creating artworks. They're not ideas in a vacuum, and they're not worked through by a lonely artist. The artist in these projects works as a facilitator in making subjects and questions related to our lives and to our world visible, bringing them to the public, and at the same time is aided within a partnership with an expert from the field they're working in. In other words, these are truly collaborative, interdisciplinary projects, and they require a true coming together of the minds, the eyes, the ears. The common thinking of the title of the show also relates to this particular group of artists who have a special history of 15 years together, from the time when George Peck was guest professor at the Hungarian Academy of Fine Arts in the art history department. The other artists in the show were part of the students he taught, and they've all kept up a kind of informal artist circle ever since. Anna Szigethy investigates a different spirit of the urban context, continuing in the spirit of her oeuvre. As the subject of her investigation, in this case, is a human factor, it is perhaps not so significant that the urban context here is Berlin. It could just as well be Budapest or any other large city. And she works with her collaboration partner in Budapest, Edith Németh, associate professor at Budapest Technical University in the Department of Ergonomics and Psychology. In her work Daydreaming, she explores exactly what happens behind the seeming unconscious condition we shake ourselves out of, which is an intimate moment, caught often in the public urban space. Zsolt Ferenczy, in his work Eye, Mouth, Heart, investigates a supernatural phenomenon in his own backyard. He lives in Püspökladány, and in April of 2010, a natural formation in a cornfield north of the town was discovered on Google Earth, resembling the face of Jesus, catapulting the town to religious imagery fame. Ferenczy worked together with environmental engineer and local historian János Rásó from the Püspökladány Experimental Station and Arboretum of the Institute of the Science of Forestry to examine the possible explanations behind it. In his work Balance, iski Kocsis examines another kind of natural phenomenon, not so very far from the region where Ferenczy worked. In fact, both are not far from Eger, the site of this exhibition. iski Kocsis worked in the Bück National Park, where he found another kind of spirituality, that of Mother Earth. In the forest, where a decision has been made for conservation on a scientific basis. In seeking the soul, manifest here differently than in the urban environment, he was inspired by the collaboration between the artist and nature, as well as with that of the forester, in this case staff from the Szilvasvárad forest of Egererdő forestry. George Peck, born in Budapest but living in New York since 1957 and returning regularly to Budapest, teamed up with former Chief Justice of the Hungarian Supreme Court between 1990 and 2002, the Honorable Dr. Pál Zsolt, for his dream state. In a multi-layered and complex presentation combining archive material with current footage, Dream State explores one of the most important moments in Hungarian history, in the events around 1989 to 1990, when the separation of law and justice from the previous totalitarian government took place, as the newly established independent constitution would become the cornerstone of this newly formed democracy. The project has taken on a particular timeliness, both on a local and global level, and culminates in a message of hope. As regards the not commonplace of the exhibition, the kis sinagoga, or small synagogue, provides an additional aspect to the works presented as a site that was formerly a sacred space of prayer and community, and in recent years has taken on the role of providing space for another kind of community. We hope this is just the first station in an ongoing process of continuing development of these initial projects, whereby new participants will join in new local contexts.